Two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Monroe Mann here, and today we're going to talk about the difference between short and long-term rentals, Airbnbs. We just signed a contract to sell our Airbnb in Maine, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of that, and the lessons learned, and maybe give you guys a little bit of a perspective on real estate investment that may help you in the future. For the new people that are just watching this, my name is Monroe Mann. I've got a PhD in psychology. I'm an Iraq War veteran. I'm an attorney, an MBA in finance. And on this channel, we do music, we do law, we do motivation, we do investing, do comedy, we do improv, interviews. It's a massive amount of things that we do on this channel. And there's something for everybody. So definitely please click subscribe and like. How you doing, Tensai? Good to see you. I'm all right. I am doing well, more or less. And so today, what we're talking about is we just signed the contract to sell this Airbnb up in Maine. And I kind of want to share this as a cautionary tale, but also inspirational, because there are good lessons learned here as well, if you want to go into the Airbnb market. How you doing, Jamie? So first of all, how did this story all start? Just in summary, when my father passed away, I kind of took over the role as helping my mom with her finances and this and that. She's unable to do that very well. And so anyway, to help her with her retirement, to make sure she has income, and I ended up buying 2 condos here in Miami Beach. And we rented them, and they're long-term rentals, meaning people sign a lease for 1 year. It's steady income, and it's good, and it doesn't require a whole lot of work once you get things going. But it's not a cash cow, right? How you doing, Plates? Good to see you. And you always hear about these stories. Oh, you want to make lots of money? You want to become rich? Do an Airbnb. And we used to have this lake house up in Maine. On a beautiful lake. You can see the lake in the movie You Can't Kill Stephen King. Jamie, you saw that lake. And you saw the inside, at least, of the house that we used to own up there. The outside in the movie is a different house. Movie magic. And the restrictions at that homeowners association allowed you to only rent for 6 weeks out of every year. And we were able to do well with it, but regardless, every year it was still coming up short by a few thousands of dollars. And so it was losing money every year. And looking back, wish you hadn't sold that house, because it was a diamond. And I didn't realize what a bargain it was for what you got at that place. But that's a whole other story. But that regret and this idea that, we're making money with long-term real estate, maybe we can do even better if we do short-term rentals. We live down in Miami Beach, and it's a great place down here in Miami Beach if you can get a condo that's in the Airbnb-able area. So it's zoned only for certain areas where you can do Airbnb. So I was thinking, well, you know what? We sold that house in Maine, which we regretted. And we want to get into do Airbnb. Let's try to do this up in Maine. And so it was about a year and a half that we got that. And I went up there a couple of times. We fixed the place up. I fixed the basement. A beautiful house on 8 acres of land, and had a wood stove. Has a wood stove because we still own it. And just really lovely. But here's the issue. Airbnb only works, and this applies to any type of rental situation, long-term rental or short-term rental. Because this is the crazy thing. The house up there during the winter was amazing, and we became super host super quickly. Within 3 months, boom, we became an Airbnb super host. And I thought, wow, you become superhost, that's going to magnify the number of bookings you get. It really had absolutely zero effect on the bookings. I thought once you became superhost, you could raise your rates, you'd get magnified inquiries. No, it was like literally nothing changed. So that was my first disappointment with Airbnb, because I hustled for October, November, December of last year to get it to superhost status, because I thought that's what's going to make us, this is now we're going to become, making $6,000 a month and all that. Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to see you, Ashley, Air, Hire. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So that was my first false assumption, which was that as soon as you become superhost, you're now rolling in the dough. I found zero benefit from becoming superhost, except now there was greater stress because we had to have these higher level of customer service, but we weren't getting any marketing benefit from it. So that was the first false assumption. And I really exhausted myself last winter, around this time last year, to get that thing into superhost. And it just was it was a lot of work, and I didn't get a lot of reward. Number two, we used to have the house on the lake up in Maine. And every summer when we booked, we wanted it to be booked for 6 weeks. And it was a really nice place. We could charge $350 per night about. It was really, really creme de la creme. I didn't think it was the lake that was enticing people to book. I thought it was just the location in general, and that the lake allowed us to charge so much more money. It turned out that it was the lake that attracted people and allowed us to charge more money, because the Airbnb that we got was not on the lake. It was about 2 miles away from the lake, same town, but it was in the forest. And we did super well in the winter because there were about 5 ski areas all in the area, and we had lots of skiers coming up. We had snowmobilers coming up to rent the place. As soon as springtime came, no more inquiries. As soon as summer came, it was zero, crickets. This June, nothing. In July, nothing. Not even an inquiry. And that blew my mind, because it used to be, and we were listed on Airbnb, we were listed on VRBO/HomeAway, some of these other sites. I was shocked that we did not get even any inquiries during the spring and summer. And at that point, we were now paying the mortgage out of pocket now. And that was really annoying. I just did this last month. I took it off, basically, when we put the house on the market to sell, I took it off of Airbnb, because that's a disaster. If you have people who are coming up, and then people are trying to see the house, and you say, sorry, you can't see the house because, sorry, my hair is all funky because it was raining out. Whatever. Now this is killing me. I got to put on a hat. This is really bad. That's really bad hair. That's really bad hat head hair. I'm gonna put on. I'll put on one of my visors. There we go. It makes me feel more comfortable and doesn't get distracted. So let me just look at some of these. It says, but you can filter by superhost, says Jamie. I won't stay anywhere that isn't. That may be the case, but we were still not getting any inquiries. And I thought the superhost was magically going to make us, because Airbnb made it seem like, when you become superhost, we promote your property to all these different places, and you're going to blah, blah. It was nothing. We were superhost for 4 months, and it didn't change the inquiries. And in fact, we got fewer inquiries, believe it or not. But the 2 lessons that I learned from this are, and then I'm thinking, okay, no problem. Let's do your right plates. You're right, and I'll get into that. It's a location issue. The next thing I thought, let me rent it, long-term rental, because we got these 2 condos here in Miami Beach, and they were easy to rent, and we've had the same tenants now for for one for 2 years and one for 2.5 years. No problem. And I honestly, and there's such a shortage of places to stay here that if we got another condo here, I am virtually certain we could rent it within 2 months. Now, I say virtually because as I learned from this situation with the Airbnb in Maine, there's no such thing as virtually and certainly. So I thought, all right, let me just rent it in to a long-term tenant. Unbelievably, didn't even get any. I listed it on apartments.com, we listed it on Trulio, we listed on Trulia and Zillow and all of those, and still had difficulties finding anybody, no increase. So what's up, Rusty? How are you? Great to have you here. Talking about real estate investment right now and why we just signed a contract to sell this house up in Maine. The first thing, first of all, thank you guys. We got 3 likes. I'm sure we can get a few more likes here. I'm giving really good information here to help you become great real estate investors. The first lesson is you need to understand the difference between short-term rentals and long-term rentals. They're 2 different markets. You can't assume, you have to check for long-term rental. You have to see, is there someone that you can find who wants to live there year-round? It sounds very obvious, but it's not. Let me remind you that. And it's not just the area. It's the actual house itself. Whatever you have. So if you have a house, you gotta say, okay, number one, first, is this area someone that wants to live there year-round? You know, for a long-term tenant. And number 2, is this place itself something that somebody wants to live in year-round? That's number 1. And if you think about it, the short-term rental market, the question you have to ask is this area somewhere that people will want to rent year-round, or can people rent seasonally, but at such a high rate that it'll make up for the fact that no one wants to rent it during the down season? So my mistake was twofold here with the house up in Maine. My assumption was that people would want to rent this place 4 seasons as a short-term rental, because people wanted to rent our other house in Maine as a short-term rental during 4 seasons. But it was on the lake, and I realized in the lake, in the summer, where do you want to go? You want to go to the lake. In the winter, you want to go anywhere up there that's close to the ski slope. And so even though the place that we got was a 4-season home, it wasn't as appealing to the summer visitors because they couldn't stay there. They couldn't have access to the lake. And of course, all of the people going up in the summer, first they're going to go to all of the places who want to stay on a lake. And then only then, if there's nowhere else to stay, they'll stay in a place. So that's the first mistake that I made, which was I thought that people would want to live in this place even in the summer, and they didn't. And the second assumption was that, it would be easy to find a long-term tenant. And I have no doubt that you can find a long-term tenant. You can find a long-term tenant for any property. The question is, how long do you want to wait to find that long-term tenant? How low are you willing to bring your monthly rent offer down? And at what point are you now losing money? So for example, this place up here, if we did it for $2,200, $2,100, maybe, then we would be making money, a good, a decent amount of money. But if we brought it down to 19, 18, 17, now it's just paying for the expenses and for the upkeep. Technically, financially, my mom and I could have kept the place up in Maine and continue to pay the rent, the mortgage. But the big question is, and this is the analysis that I did today for a couple of hours, doing all the math and this and that. Do I want to, because if we kept it for the winter, I'd have to Airbnb it again and turn on Airbnb. Just the thought of that was gives me ugh. It was no fun. And let me go into let me go back again. What's the difference between long-term rental and short-term rental? They're both businesses, but they are dramatically different businesses. Hello, Trent. Long-term rental you can do on your free time. Short-term rental, it is a full-time business or more full-time business. I know there are some people who say, "Oh, that's not true. I did my Airbnb part-time, this and that." Maybe if that Airbnb were here in Florida, 20 minutes from where I was, but it's like nearly 1,500 miles away, north, up in Maine. And I've realized what we're talking about real estate investment. My mom and I co-own a property in Maine, and it was such a different experience than the long-term rentals that we're doing here in Florida, where we have tenants. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Let's have the vacation home up in Maine where we used to live, and we'll do it as an Airbnb. It'll be the best of both worlds, and it was just a headache. We didn't lose a ton of money, and because we did well during the last winter, but it was no fun for me, and I had no enjoyment out of hiring the cleaners. I had no enjoyment, and again, there are a whole bunch of solutions here you could do. There's a company called Evolve. There's a company called Vacasa, where they actually are vacation rental management companies. But honestly, I was thinking, I don't even want to manage the vacation rental management company. And I'm realizing you're two different personalities for long-term rental and short-term rental. It's not that I don't have the personality for doing a hands-on business. It's that I've got so many of these other business ventures, like YouTube. YouTube is the equivalent of doing an Airbnb, for example. Well, because I have to regularly come up here, which is like doing the cleaning. I got to manage the guests. Who are the guests? Those are all of you guys here on the live stream. And I mean, if you have nothing else going on in your life, if you have your full-time job, and it's very steady and it's very secure, and you're thinking, you know what, I want to get involved with doing Airbnb, that's maybe a very good idea. It'll give you a hobby. It'll give you something hands-on to do. It's a little bit of fun, listen to an adventure. But I will recommend do it closer to home. I think we might have had a better success if this thing were not so far away. Because I can't do anything up there. And I have to hire so many people to take care of everything. Landscapers, tree people, electricians, plumbers. I understand that you got to do that even if you have that Airbnb close by. But at least in that case, you can go and supervise them. You can do this. It was basically the blind controlling all of these people up there. And that's a very difficult thing, even if you've got massive resources. A lot of companies fail because they overextend. The Roman Empire. I'm reading The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire now, a great book. And one of the reasons is they just got too big and they couldn't keep control of all of their periphery conquests. And so, let me look. All right, so no new comments. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad we did this little Airbnb experiment because I've learned I have zero desire to ever do an Airbnb again. And it does, literally, you are running a hotel. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. And that's what I didn't realize even here when I was getting started, even though logically I knew what I was getting into. I knew I had to hire the cleaning staff. I needed to do to fix everything. I knew I had to pay for the electricity and the Wi-Fi and the internet. But here's the thing that you don't realize. If you have a long-term tenant, so we have these long-term tenants here in Miami Beach. They pay for the electricity. They pay for their internet. They handle basically everything. It's their home. So they care about it. They take care of it. They make sure it's in good condition. When there is a problem, they let me know. I tell my tenants, I say, look, I'm not the type of landlord who is going to get angry at you if you tell me that there's a problem. I'm the type of landlord who will get upset with you if you don't tell me there's a problem. Why? If they don't tell me that there's a problem with the toilet, then guess what? I don't know that there's a problem. I can't send a plumber to go get it fixed, right? And then suddenly a pipe bursts and the entire place gets flooded and the apartment, the condo down below gets flooded. Now I'm on the hook for $6,000 of damages when I would have only had to pay $150 or $250 to hire a plumber to go inspect and fix the toilet before it breaks. But literally, that's all I have to do. And so about 3 months ago, I got a call from one tenant. Air conditioner was broken. Called up the AC guy, went and fixed it. That person hasn't had any problems since. 4 weeks ago, one of the tenants had a problem with the toilet. Again, called me, called the plumber, fixed it. And then same tenant just had a problem with the sink broke. So we had to fix the entire faucet. But it's great. Now it's done. They paid the rent on the 1st of the month for both of the condos. And we have it set up on auto pay. So the mortgage for the first one gets paid. The second one is paid flat out in cash. So there's no mortgage. But everything is really just handled. It's very easy. And maybe I'm hoping now for the next 2 months, I will not hear from these tenants at all. And yet money is coming in. And that's when they say, when real estate is passive income and you're making lots of money without a huge amount of effort, if you get a passive income strategy. What is that passive income strategy? You get long-term tenants who are very good tenants, who you've really vetted very well, who have good credit, and who aren't going to cause problems, not going to sell drugs on the property, things like that. And you make sure that they've got a good job, get a good enough security deposit, and then all that stuff, you do all that, boom, up front, you do it once. Oh, thank you, Relic. Appreciate it. You are a smart man too for watching my live stream and clicking like and subscribing to my channel. What's up, Galaxy? So we're talking real estate, guys. It's more of an interesting educational live stream than other times. With a long-term rental, it's a pain in the butt at first because you got to find the property. You got to fix up the property, makes up it's rentable. You got to figure out, you have to find your tenants. You have to do a little bit of marketing up front. I have a great way to find tenants now that I'm here is through my real estate agent. And I just let her know, hey, we've got a condo. Can you help find us the new tenant? And she's done that already twice. So whenever a tenant leaves, I say, hey, please find a tenant. She wins because she gets a commission. We win because we get a tenant. And boom. So once you have a good team, and this is for both Airbnb and long-term rentals, if you have a good team in place, it becomes very easy. But marketing is far more of an issue for short-term rental than it is for long-term rental. Because long-term rental, you're putting up some marketing, you're trying to get a tenant. Once you get that tenant and you sign the contract and they move in, you got your security, every month they pay the rent. No, not always. I had to evict somebody, and that does happen, because I found out that the tenant was doing something improper with the condo, namely illegally Airbnb-ing our condo, and that person signed a long-term lease. But I learned a lesson from that, changed the contract, did some background, making sure that the person that's living in there we inherited that tenant when we bought the condo, and I couldn't just kick him out. But I was able to evict that person once I found the person was illegally Airbnb-ing it from Canada. So, let me see. Jamie says, I've seen some stuff while dashing. I'm not sure I'd want to rent to anyone. So, this is why I'm saying, many people own real estate and rent it, but they do not do their due diligence up front, and they rent to people without actually vetting those potential tenants and making sure that the tenant is going to be good. These tenants, oh my gosh, they are such good tenants. I'm doing everything I can to avoid raising their rent by too much because I don't want them gone. And even though the taxes here in Miami-Dade have gone up the last year and the homeowners association fees have gone up, so the rent has to go up, but it's not I'm not doing it like, oh, how much can we raise the rent and still get away with it? I'm doing it, what's the least amount that I could raise this rent where my mom is still making a decent amount of money to pay for her apartment, and the tenants are gonna feel like we're being reasonable. And the place that I rent, they don't care if it's reasonable. It's horrible. It goes up by $150, $200 every single year. I don't know where it's going to go. Before you know it, I'm going to be paying $25,000 a month for this place that I'm in. And for those just joining, we're talking about Airbnb and long-term rentals, both of which I've done. And I'm trying to give you guys, answer your questions and guide you. We just sold an Airbnb that we have in Maine. Quote unquote, we signed the contract. Let's hope that it closes at the end of this month. But this topic's on my mind because when we get the money from the sale of this Airbnb in Maine, I got to figure out what best to do with the money, where to invest this to help my mom in the best way possible. I know that it's not going to be an Airbnb. So I'm probably either putting the money in, we're going to get a third condo here in South Florida and find a long-term tenant. Number two, potentially in the stock market. Number three, maybe some of these, there's something called SuperVest, which is another investment opportunity that may be considering put more money into because it's been pretty good. But I've learned my lesson that I don't want to, if you are a very busy person, if you have zero time in the world, because you're so involved with other money-making things and your kids and your family and this and that, don't do an Airbnb because it is time-consuming. Or make sure it's very close to where you live. Make sure you get your family and friends involved so you got other people who are doing it with you. For me, it was just me because my mom is not able to help so much. And so, I mean, it was exhausting for me to manage an Airbnb from Florida that's in Maine. It was a second Airbnb that I did, but it was the first one that I was doing, which was a year-round Airbnb. I mean, so those are those tips. Make sure you can handle it because it's going to take up a lot of time. You are running a hotel. Think about that. With a long-term tenant, if there's a problem, they're going to have to wait a couple of days, unless it's an absolute emergency. With an Airbnb, if they arrive at 7 p.m. and they feel that toilet paper is not, they're going to start messaging you on Airbnb and on Booking.com at 8 p.m., at 11 p.m., at midnight. And guess what? You're a hotel. And if you're Superhost, which we were, you got to get off your butt and solve all of their problems, or they're going to give you a bad review and ruin your Superhost status. I found being an Airbnb. Thanks, Jamie. Hope this information is helpful to you. I hope all of you guys will consider investing in the real estate world. And Jamie will put that up onto the board in a second. Actually, we'll do it right now. So I've got my goal of 200. Jamie, I put that on there, $6.98. Also, V, the 5 memberships gifted yesterday. Wait, didn't Big Kev do some the other day too? I think that was yesterday. Big Kev did $20. Oh no, I guess that's times. Oh no, I did add it. That was right up there. That was the night too. So that's on there. And then Jamie, $4.99 times 3. Thank you so much. Sorry. Okay. So again, we're talking about real estate investment and what you want to do. I think there are a lot of people that make money with Airbnb, but I'll tell you this, the Airbnb, and I'll get pushback from this from some people, is a speculative investment. It's an active speculative investment. What does that mean? It's speculative in the fact that everything hinges on whether Airbnb remains a business, VRBO. I mean, that's where 90% of people get their business for their short-term rentals or those sites. If something happens to those sites, or if people start souring on short-term rentals, or if disposable income goes down, such as during COVID, COVID decimated many Airbnbs because they were all based on short-term rentals, and nobody had any money and couldn't go traveling and go on vacation. People were worried about their jobs during COVID. Whereas guess what? People are always looking for a place to live. And so I'm glad that I learned this lesson. It's a good lesson because now I know. And now I know the only real estate investment that I want to do is long-term rentals. Because you can vet the renters far more easily. Jamie, I know you said you're concerned about you wouldn't want to rent to anybody. But there's this great service by TransUnion, and Equifax, and some of these, where they have a renter score. And the score tells you how likely is this person to cause damage, how likely is this person to pay the rent on time, how likely is this person to do anything illegal on the property, how likely is this person to abide by the lease terms, and if it's above a certain number, it gives a stamp of approval saying this person is rent worthy. And I've been using this system, and it works really, really well. And I just do a background criminal check. I'll do a background on their FICO score, get proof of income. So this is what I'm saying. It's a little bit of a hassle because I have to require all these things on the front end. But as a result, I haven't had any problems with these two new tenants since I started doing the new system. And now they've been with us for 2.5 years. And one of them is just renewed the lease, or is going to renew the lease in about a week. So my advice to any of you, first of all, do whatever you want. If you like the idea of doing Airbnb and short-term rental because it's sexy, that's fine, but don't do it because you think it's sexy. Because it was the most unsexy thing I ever did. Last October, November, December, January, February were pretty horrible for me. I did not enjoy, and I was constantly going, oh, hey, can you go and clean this? Hey, can you clean it? Oh, and then I'm wondering, I hope the cleaners went and cleaned it up before the next guests came. Oh yeah. It was not cool. But again, if you do Airbnb, you got to make sure that you have either the manpower, the people to help you, or you are good with handling all that stress. I had so much stress in my life. I didn't want that. I'm doing all this stuff to help my mom, and it's not really making me much money. I make about from these rentals here, I make about $250 a month. My mom makes the majority of the income, so I get a small little management fee. But I don't want stress. I don't want any stress at all. Airbnb will give you stress for a long time. Long-term rental will give you none. Now, it's a big if you've got good tenants. That's the thing that's going to destroy any one of your investments with real estate. If you don't have long-term tenants, if you don't have a long-term tenant, you got to pay your mortgage every single month. That's a problem. With short-term rentals, just as much of a problem if you don't have guests who want to stay at your place. Let me read some of these comments here. Goku, you went to the Trump rally yesterday. Did you see, wait, you're telling me you saw Elon Musk speak? That's very interesting. I'd love to hear about that. For those of you who just joined, I'm reading the comments, then we're going back to talking about real estate investment. Rabbit, I haven't looked in the Discord in like 2 or 3 weeks. It's been just absolutely hectic, but I will do that. Galaxy is taking care of 3 sick people and making sure the house is clean. So guess what? Galaxy, you kind of know what it's like to run an Airbnb. Except you have the benefit of being in the house. Imagine if you had to do that, everything you're doing, but you had to do it from 1,500 miles away. That's the stress that I was under with this Airbnb. Jamie says, maybe I should save it up and make it one impressive super chat. No, Jamie, I will tell you, do not do that. And I'll tell you why. every time I get a super chat on here, even if it's 99 cents, it makes me feel like I'm a professional YouTuber. And it makes me feel like somebody values what I'm doing here. So don't ever feel like it's like I don't appreciate it. That's what I said. Even when that guy Alexander Costello does a 99 cents, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. Because it just says like, oh, I appreciate what you're doing. So I appreciate the smaller ones. That's my 2 cents. You can do what you want, of course. It is your money. But I like seeing the $4.99 up here. And thank you for spending your hard-earned money to encourage me to keep going with this. Goku Black, it was warm, but Trump motivated me to keep standing. Trump motivated me to keep standing. That could be a funny song. And it's a new Elton John song. Trump motivated me to keep on standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Later, Trent. See you later. Robert Gamer says investments, wants to buy a tank. That could be a good investment too. All right. Let's see. Guys, I'm going to skip over some of these comments because I want to keep it on about investments today. But thank you, Jao. Vitor Mendez. Wow, look at you, Jao. You're getting on the wall here. Dun, da, da, da. Jao. Thank you very much. And that comes up to about 20 cents US, which is greatly appreciated. 100%. You know, this is the thing too about investments. I tell people all the time, if you're not investing, start now. Buy 99 cents of Google stock or Apple or GM or Ford. They go, what's 99 cents gonna do? Because it adds up. And you keep doing 99 cents every single day. At the end of the month, you've got $30. Or at the end of the year, you've got $12 worth of stock, which has probably gone up in value. Never not invest. I know it's a double negative. Never not invest because you don't think you have enough money to invest. That's the stupidest excuse ever, and you are missing out. And you are 100% missing out. And this applies to real estate. Too many people say, I don't have enough money for the down payment on either a home or a long-term rental or an Airbnb. And I'm telling you, it starts with the first penny. You create a savings account and just label it my real estate investment fund. And your mission is to every week you put a little bit of money there, even if it's $1. And then if you have a little money next week, you could put $5. If the next week you don't, you just put $1 again. You keep doing it. I do that with these investments. So I automatically have it set up that every time a tenant pays rent, let's just give an example. I'll use easy numbers. Let's just say $1,000 is the money that comes in. And then I take $25 of that immediately goes towards the repair fund. And I have it set up in Chase to automatically do this. So $25 repair fund, okay? $100 goes immediately into the next down payment fund, okay? And then $50 goes into the whatever fund, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then whatever's left over, 80% goes to my mom, 20% to me. The $100 a month that goes into the next down payment fund, when we started this, like 3 years ago, it seemed like nothing. And I'm thinking that's never gonna add up. There's $6,000 in that fund right now, which means in about 2 or 3 years, that'll be $12,000. And maybe in 4 or 5 years, if we get another property, another long-term rental, that'll just amplify. And before you know it, so a little bit of money from every one of these rentals is going into a fund to buy another property. So we have 2 of them right now. But imagine soon we'll have 3, 4, 5, 6. Eventually, the money is no longer an issue. But the problem is it's hard to get started. It is hard also to be disciplined enough to save up that money. I'm telling you, having a long-term rental is such a secure investment because it's real property. Now, again, why is it called real? Real used to be a real from Spanish, royal, so it's not about being real. But once you get that first rental property, and it's a long-term rental, and you learn how to properly vet your tenants before you give them the keys, and you do your math to make sure that the amount of rent coming in will not only cover all the expenses, but will also give you some profit, then you've got a little bit of a money-making machine there. No problem, Robert Gamer. You don't have to super chat. Guys, you don't have to. First of all, remember, I appreciate all of you guys that are here because in some way, shape, or form, you're supporting me. You're showing up. Maybe you watch an ad here or there, and I get a few cents from that. And we're all a team, basically. And so never feel bad if you cannot super chat or become a member. I'm glad you're here. And how can you help? Watch more of my videos, share my videos, tell more people about my channel and say, please subscribe to this guy. He's awesome and and he's helping a lot of people. Bradford Gamer says, I'm broke as a joke. That's funny. What's up, Burger Sleuth? How are you? Nope, it says Cayman Islands. Yao says, how the heck do you know how much one BRL is? I'm a very impressive person, Joao. Very, very impressive. All right, see you later, Galaxy Sings. Michael says, I'm not finding any links for this hat anywhere. Is it official merchandise? No, this is just a hat that I got in Cayman Islands. Apologies, wish I could get you one. Maybe I can make one that says Cayman Islands. You want one that says Cayman Islands? Established, what is that? 1200, what year is that? No, 1502. 1502. And here's another thing. Sometimes you need to make an investment mistake in order to overcome an emotional block. And that doesn't make any sense right now, but it'll make sense in a second. After selling the house in Maine, it was a little bit traumatic. Not selling it, we both thought we were doing the right thing, and then we realized, the following summer, oh, bummer, we can't go up to our lake house. And we're like, what did we do? We sold it. So I thought going back up there and buying something like this would be a great solution, and we could make money. But it turned out not to be the great solution because it wasn't on the lake. It wasn't our old home. It didn't have the same emotional feeling as the old house. And now we just sold it. But I feel good about it because we tried. And I tried to kind of rekindle what we had there. It didn't work completely, but now I don't have any regrets. And the fact that I know that, okay, I tried to create an Airbnb up there, and it didn't work. No problem. Now I know that I don't like doing short-term rentals. I really much prefer doing long-term rentals, and that's an incredible thing for you to learn as an investor. It doesn't have to necessarily be with real estate. But how are you going to learn what you're good at and what you like unless you keep trying? And this advice applies to investments in life in general, too. How do you know if you're going to like being a doctor unless you try? Or how do you know if you're going to like being a lawyer unless you try? It doesn't mean you have to become a lawyer and become a doctor. Or for example, how do you know if you're going to want to become a skydiver? Well, maybe you should go on one skydive and try and see if it's something that appeals to you. How do I know how do you know if you're going to like living in another country? Go live in another country for 3 weeks. If you like living in one place in another country for 3 weeks, then probably you could like living there for a longer period of time. Same thing with your investments. How do you know if you're going to like investing in the stock market unless you try? And here's the thing. There are so many different parts of The stock market. You can't say, oh, I tried the stock market once, it wasn't my thing. Well, what did you try? Did you try just buying stocks blindly? Did you invest in options? Did you try short selling and you didn't know what the heck you were doing? Did you buy index funds? What did you do? So you can't just say, oh, I tried the stock market and it didn't work. Just like you can't say, I tried real estate investment, didn't work. Well, what did you try? Did you try buying and selling? Did you try doing a Airbnb? Did you try doing a long-term rental? Did you try a buy and flip? What did you try? And you should not sell yourself short saying, oh no, real estate investment's not for me. There's probably a part of real estate investment that is for you. Or maybe real estate investment is not for you and you'd rather do the stock market. Or rather you want to just start your own regular business. Bubble cups. Yeah, I upset my, my moderators get upset with me because I get upset with them. If any of you guys have a YouTube channel and you have moderators, you're going to be upset too if your moderators come on there and start asking the people watching your live stream to come watch their live stream. That's the cardinal sin. I worked so hard to get to the point where I even have 11 people watching, and then someone's coming on here who has like 200 subscribers and is trying to poach viewers. And I think it's a mistake for Violetta not to like me anymore, because maybe investing time helping me could be a help for her and her channel. So, no problem. You know what? I've learned over the years, and I mention this all the time, that quote from Abraham Lincoln: you can please some of the people all the time. You can please all of the people some of the time. You can never please all of the people all of the time. So I have my principles. I am who I am, and I try not to change. The people who like me are the people who like me. And the people who don't like me, not because I'm me, because I don't change like a chameleon to appeal to those other people. So there are some moderators who have been really awesome on here. Love and Light's been a great one. And there are some who have taken advantage of my generosity and my trust. And that's the same thing for friends. What's up, Violetta? There, you're here. I don't know. Bubblegum is telling me that you don't like me anymore, huh? Anyway, Violetta, we'll talk about this another time if you want to talk about it. I don't want to bring down the live stream. I was just telling, we want to make sure that anyone who's a moderator on the channel needs to, support the channel. So, well, who the heck is Bubblegum? I think Bubblegum and Violetta are the same two people. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, plates. Yeah, 100%. It's not cool. I've had like 3 or 4 moderators who have come on and they go, hey, I'm starting a live in 5 minutes. If any of you guys want to come. And I'm like, no, that's not cool. That's not supporting me. That's taking advantage of me. But that's a lesson for life. It's like you always want to make sure that people are genuine. You want to make sure that you're. I don't have a huge amount of friends. Maybe it's my standards are too high, but I feel most people just take advantage of me and don't meet me halfway. And I feel like they try to get something out of me, and then when I need them in an hour of need, they're just gone. So maybe it's also why I don't have a girlfriend. I've found that I have to be very careful about the people who I invest my time with, and I think all of you should be. You should all be careful about who you spend your time and who you invest your time with. I appreciate that you're investing some time with me, and I'm grateful, and I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm investing time with you too, and I appreciate that. But just always think twice about who you're investing your time with, who can you count on, and all that. And this, so let me see some of these messages. Okay, I don't know what the heck bubblegum and veil. I don't know what's going on here with bubblegum and Violetta. Very confused right now. What's up, V? You missed a great chat. We all talked about real estate investment and the differences between doing short-term rentals and doing long-term rentals. I do recommend all of you, regardless, you all read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Make sure you read it, and because it helped you to start thinking in terms of a investor and thinking about how to turn money into employees. Basically, you get your money to start working for you, and that is what you want to do. Ideally, what you want to do is create passive income. And in some ways, that's what I'm trying to do with the YouTube channel. And in some ways, I am. I look every few days at the earnings, and I find that I made money, maybe 12 cents, from ad revenue from a video that I made 4 years ago. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe all of the effort that I put on all those other videos is not for naught. Not meaning it's not for nothing. It's not for naught. Because people are starting to watch those videos now. And I realize the more subscribers I get, the more people who will start looking at my older videos. And maybe that revenue will start to grow and grow and grow. And guess what? It's passive income now because it's money from work that I've already done. And if somebody else watches it, does the same thing. I want all of you guys to think exactly the same way. How can you increase your passive income? Meaning money that you earn from an investment you made weeks ago, months ago, or years ago. This is one of the main reasons why we put this Airbnb up in Maine on the market. I realized it was the exact opposite of passive income. These 2 condos here in Florida, they're a pleasure. I love these tenants. They pay their rent on time, and there's a steady flow of money coming in every month. That Airbnb, it was the most undependable form of income I've ever seen in my life. It was grueling. I got texts at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and people were upset. And I was just managing so many working parts from 1,500 miles away. And I thought, that is not passive income, and that's not what I want. None of you guys should want to have active income unless it's active income from something you love to do. And it's even why, in many ways, I'm trying to get away from working as an attorney, because I'm good at doing contracts. I'm really good at it, and negotiations, stuff like that. But honestly, I enjoy doing this YouTube live stuff and the YouTube far more than I do working as an attorney. I will do it, and if somebody's got a legal case for me, I'm absolutely there, and I'm working on a couple now. When it's not my pride and joy, and I don't wake up in the morning and I'm excited about doing YouTube, about doing legal work. Why do actors continue to do their television shows and stuff? Because it's fun. Why do I continue doing these YouTube lives? Right now, because it's fun. It's not paying bills. It is. I think I made like $550 last month, so that's awesome. It pays for cell phone, pays for part of rent, pays for some groceries. So thank you, all of you, every single one watching you. You're part of that. But it's fun. And how much more cooler this would be if all of a sudden, if I'm making $500 a day, having fun, teaching people, inspiring people, motivating people. That type of active income is fine. So, and even this, the real estate, the 2 long-term rentals, I wouldn't say it's fun. I don't love taking care of plumbing issues and calling plumbers and fixing air conditioners and finding new tenants. I don't love it. But with a long-term tenant, it doesn't take up a lot of time. If the Airbnb, let's say, takes up 20 hours a week, the long-term rentals take 30 minutes a week. I don't think about them half the time. And that is true passive income, where the money comes in and you don't even realize where the heck did that come from. Every month when I get the notice that the clients sent the money, not the clients, the tenants, I'm like, oh wow, it's the first of the month, cool. The rent money came in. I'm thinking, wow, I didn't even do anything for the whole month. My mom didn't do anything. The money just came in. You have to find this type of income. It is not easy. I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad for the first time, I think in 2005, when I got back from Iraq. And it took me a long time to, even though I knew this idea of passive income, it makes logical sense. It is a lot harder to materialize than any of these books make it seem. But that is not a reason not to do it. It took 2005 until, now I do make passive income, even besides the real estate, because I'm making the passive income through these various investment apps, through SMBX, from Lambda, from Concrete, from OKCoin, from Coinbase. There's even passive income I make from the military because I get a disability pension. It's not a huge amount of money. It's about $350 a month. And I didn't join the military thinking, ooh, I'm going to get a disability pension, passive income. But it's there. And I get $350 adjusted for inflation every year or two for work that I did in the past. So that is what we're talking about right now, and why real estate is one of those amazing things, because it can bring you this passive income. Let me look at some comments. Hi, Jamie. What is happening? Hi, Burger Sleuth. That's pretty rude, Bubblegum. Yeah, Bubblegum is being rude to a bunch of people here. I have 0 friends. It's excellent, to be honest. V, V, you're funny. Honestly, the older I've gotten, and I've done live streams about this before, and this does relate to investment, because friends are an investment of your time and money. I don't know what a friend is, and I think maybe we'll do a whole live stream about that later. I don't know what a friend is, and I mention this a lot, because some people who I absolutely dislike end up coming through for me, and I never thought they would have helped me. And then times when I really needed a friend, and I call up a friend, the friend just abandons me. And it's very, very, very strange. And think about this, guys. I don't know any of you. And yet, you guys support me more than most of my friends. Josue and Ava. I know both of them. You guys know Ava. Sometimes she's on here, and that guy Josue. Forgive me if I'm forgetting somebody else, but those are the two who I know in real life and who support me on this channel. But all the rest of you, none of you have met me, and yet you guys are more supportive of me than my friends. Isn't that weird? Does that mean that you guys are more my friends than they are? In some ways, I kind of think, yeah. It's super, super confusing to me, this idea of friendship. Plate says there's a difference between who has your back and someone who has your best interest at heart. Well, isn't that the same thing? If someone has your back, they do have your best interest. Oh, no, you're right. Someone might have your back, but they're thinking about how supporting you supports them. They're called fair weather friends. If you do a Google search for me, you'll find lots of stuff that I've done over the last 20 years. And I was sort of almost on the verge of becoming super famous back in 2003, 2004 with my band, with a movie that I was producing. And I had so many friends. I had so many supporters. I had so many people that wanted to take me out to lunch. I had people who were texting me all the time. And then I got deployed to Iraq. When I came back, things kind of fell apart with me being involved in show business, and the friendships all disappeared. And I had invested all of that time developing these friendships, but when I became somebody who wasn't successful, suddenly they were not here for me. And it's interesting, there were so many people who supported my channel over the summer. Before I got monetized, I have not seen any of them since I got monetized. And it's so weird. It's thinking, where the heck are you? You invested so much time in me. I became to depend on you and consider you a very close fan and supporter, and they're gone. And I mean, I have a PhD in psychology, and it doesn't make sense. But I think that's the idea. I think that's the main lesson from having a PhD in psychology is people do not make sense. And you can try to figure them out, and they're going to throw loops because you never know what's really going on in their head. As Plate said, someone might have, maybe they had my back at the time because I filled some need during the summer, but they weren't really a supporter. I don't really know. I'm still, I do not understand, and yet I do. Why do people invest their time watching me? 19 people are here. Why? And why do some of you become paid members of the channel? Why do you guys super chat? And you're working very hard at your job and you're giving me some of that money. I'm grateful. And I know the reason. Again, I'm entertaining, I'm funny, I'm educational, I'm awesome, I'm the best YouTube live streamer ever. But at the same time, it's still, every time somebody becomes a paid member, or anytime V or Big Kev gifts memberships, or somebody super chats like Joao did today and Jamie did today, it's like wow, mind blowing, and never for a moment think that I don't appreciate it. I appreciate it to such an extent that I'm kind of, my jaw is agape, going, wow, these people still support me. Jamie still supports me. V keeps coming back on here, and Violetta's still here, right? Even after Bubblegum insulted her. So nice to see you, Violetta. And Denise says, "Oh my word, honey, I got you." Thanks, Denise. Bubblegum, yeah, it's true, right? Bubblegum. Yeah, I'm confused. Who the heck is Bubblegum? I thought Bubblegum and I don't know. I'm confused. I guess that's a positive sign. There are so many people here now that I'm confusing people. Remember to like and subscribe. V says tenants can be risky, but that's the same for almost everything. Yeah, V, that's the main point that we're talking about here. And with your investments become infinitesimally, that's a tough word to say, infinitesimally less risky the more research you do before you put up your money. And with this real estate thing, again, too, with an Airbnb, you got to make sure that it's a year-round appealing location and a year-round appealing rental. And that was the mistake that I made. It was a year-round appealing location, but the house that we got was really only appealing in the winter because during the summer, people wanted to be on the lake. It was an oversight, made a mistake, and so that became a risky investment because didn't do enough research on the front end. But I'm becoming very, very confident. I'm very experienced, not super experienced, but more experienced than I was 3 years ago with the long-term tenants, because we have 2 condos, we've had a bunch of turnovers, and now we found 2 great tenants, and they've been with us renewing year after year after year. So you're right, tenants can be a problem if you give keys to someone you did not do your research on. It is much better to protect it, even though you're struggling to pay your mortgage or this or that, and you find someone who wants to pay, and they go, I'll pay you the $2,200 you want, but just let me move in tonight. I would never say yes. I would say, I'm sorry, you can't move in tonight. I need to do the background check. I need to have proof of income. Or what you do is, you could do that background check maybe online nowadays, like in about 2 hours. So maybe you could do that. I'd say if you want to move in tonight, you need to triple the security deposit. So instead of $2,500, it's $7,500. If you want to move in tonight, that's fine. And then once everything clears, I will give you back half of that. Something like that. But too many times, this is the lawyer in me talking, Too many people try to rush into investments or deals or contracts or opportunities with their emotion, and they're so excited and they want it to be a success so much that they're willing to cut corners just to get the deal done, only to find out a week later, a month later, a year later, oh no, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have rushed into it. It happens to everybody, even me. I'm a lawyer. People think that lawyers are infallible. People think that doctors are infallible. No one is perfect in this world. Lawyers make stupid mistakes. Doctors make stupid mistakes. Doctors don't sometimes take care of themselves less well than they take care of their patients. Sometimes lawyers are able to advise their clients in a very easy manner, but when it comes to themselves, they make mistakes. Why? Because they can objectively talk to their client without the emotion. But when it comes to yourself, you're the lawyer who's also a human, and the emotions get in the way. So in many ways, that might be why this Airbnb in Maine was a mistake. I was really eager to get another place up in Maine to try to make up for the fact that we made the mistake of selling it in the first place. And I think I got into Airbnb before I did the research to make sure that it was a really good market. But I don't regret anything, because I learned these valuable lessons about I don't like doing Airbnb. It's too much work. And I'd much rather spend the time doing long-term rentals and doing time on YouTube. And I'd much rather work with my legal clients than, excuse me, than do Airbnb. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to dissuade any of you from doing any particular investment. But I am telling you, if you want to do Airbnb, get ready, because it's going to be a lot of work, far more work than doing a long-term rental. I think a long-term rental tenant is going to be less of a headache than you think the profit from an Airbnb is going to be. I think the Airbnb is going to be a lot more work and less profit than you think. And the long-term tenant will be less of a headache than you think and more of an enjoyable investment experience. Many other people will disagree with me, but as I told you, long-term rental is true passive income because you're only working 30 minutes a week on it. Airbnb, you're going to be spending anywhere from 5 to 20 hours a week, depending on how busy that Airbnb is. Anchor says, where'd I get the hat? I got this in the Cayman Islands, in Georgetown. I was on a cruise in August and found this cool cap there. How you doing, Bradley Sharp? Anchor, Jamie's in the house. Bubblegum, he did actually just talked about it. Veteran, says Anchor. I don't have much passive income, but I own a house and I rented out rooms, so I have very little bills to pay. Anchor, you have, in that sense, if you're renting out rooms, it's sort of like an Airbnb. So it's kind of like an active business that you have, because you do have to. But if you're renting out the rooms, and are they, again, it depends. If you have the turnover every 2 or 3 days, it's an active business. If you're renting out rooms on like a monthly basis or every few months, then it's more like a passive income. It really depends, how often do you have to manage this thing and get in there? And how much does it take time away from you doing your other businesses and your other things that you love? That's what was really upsetting me about the Airbnb. I have my company, Break Diving. I'd love you guys to come check it out. It's breakdiving.io, breakdiving.io. And I have the YouTube channel, and I have some books, more books that I'm writing, things like that. Those are the things that I want to spend my time on. I don't want to spend all my time managing guests at a hotel up in Maine. But that's what it became. And my life started to start revolving around this Airbnb when I wanted to have passive income to help my mom, and I still have my free time to do all the things that I'm trying to do. Just be very careful. You can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money more consistently with long-term rentals. It's just going to take you a longer time to get that income coming, a large income. Airbnb, maybe you'll make income in the first 3 months and things are going crazy, but if COVID happens again, you're done. And And if people stop going on vacations, you're going to have problems. So it's more like a business that's seasonally dependent and economically dependent, where long-term rental, it's always there for you. People are going to rent an apartment no matter what. Let's see. And let's see. Let's see. Cult Shooter says, how many of you actually work for a living? I always find it funny when people come on a YouTube live and criticize the other people on here, and it's like, dude, you're criticizing. You're basically a kettle call. What's that expression? A pot calling the kettle. Oh my gosh, a pot calling the kettle black. Now Cult says like and subscribe. Make money in Tennessee. Hit the like button. Platt says introverts. Well, I love people and company, but I love me time more. Do a meet and greet. See you later, Bubblegum. I don't know why you're so mad at Violetta, Bubblegum. Yeah, you can find more friends online because online people are more comfortable being extraordinarily nice, but also extraordinarily rude. Also, you know what? It's low investment friendships online. If it's an online friendship, it is like this right here. You guys, we don't have an actual relationship, quote unquote. You guys could reach out to me if you wanted to through my many websites, but there's no way I can find out who you are. There's no way I could text you, no way I can message you. So it's different. I understand that it's a lower investment type of relationship online than it is in person. And yeah, it's a strange thing. Plate says most people don't get it, but you did. Be careful what you wish for. The online disinhibition effect, yeah. That's what it's called. And I hope you guys get the online disinhibition of investment effect, because I'm hoping that I am inspiring you to invest your money, save up money, get involved with long-term rentals, invest money in the stock market, put a little bit of your money into cryptocurrency. I have one cryptocurrency investment that's earned 66% just this year. 66% just in 1 year. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't go down 150% in the next 6 months. 100% can't. That's the risk. But if I'm putting a small amount of my money onto things that maybe could become big hits. And Adam says the YouTube algorithm made them forget about you. Yeah, that's true, Adam, too. That could be right. The YouTube algorithm made them forget about you. It's the truth. And there are a lot of people here who only found me after I got monetized too, after August 1st. And the truth is, a year from now, let's assume I keep doing these live streams, a year from now, I would hope that it's not a brand new audience, but it's very likely that there's going to be turnover. And some of you that are here now are not going to be my fans or not going to be my supporters in a year. I don't know why, but that's the way life is. It's so strange. Jamie says, I don't expect anything from anyone and realize my expectations aren't everyone's. You're good job, Jamie. You're a better human than me. V says, don't unnecessarily complicate things with holding certain people at a higher or lower standard. Everyone has the same potential. Yes and no, V. I mean, not everyone has the same potential to become a successful opera singer. Not everyone has the same potential to become a successful YouTuber. Not everyone has the same potential to become a movie star. But everyone has the same potential to become great. I do believe that is true. But there are certain things that I thought that I was destined to be. And I realized, you know what, Monroe? There are probably other people who are better than you. But the truth is, even if someone's better, someone else could still succeed. I'm better as a YouTuber from what I hear, than a lot of the people that you guys end up finding in these streams, and yet they have 400 or 1,000 people watching them. Why is there such a discrepancy? Because better does not always equal success. And that's why I always say good now is better than perfect never. Don't try to be better than the other person, because maybe that's not even going to have any effect. Thanks, Cult Shooter, for dropping a like. Yeah, Cult's been here before. Appreciate that. Anchor says, true, if you expect something, it doesn't happen, you're disappointed. I was talking about a song by the Gin Blossoms, Hey Jealousy. And the song goes, if you don't expect too much from me, then you won't be let down. And the whole idea being, and I was always depressed when I heard that years ago, back 20 years ago, but I realized it's the truth. If you don't have high expectations for people, they're not going to disappoint you. But at the same time, that's kind of sad. It makes you very mute. It makes you dull. It dulls your senses. And then, like, if you don't become invested, like if you don't have high expectations for everybody, then you're never going to put your real trust in somebody. You're never going to fall in love again. I would love to have that feeling of being in love with somebody again, but that requires you putting a lot of trust and investing a lot of time and energy. How you doing, Miss T? And if you expect nothing and doesn't happen, you're fine. But isn't that depressing, Anchor? Isn't it depressing to anchor yourself in non-expectation? I mean, Buddhism, one of the main tenets of Buddhism is life is struggle. And the second part of Buddhism is we are all struggling. We suffer because we are too attached to things, people, and outcomes. And Buddhism says, look, if you can detach yourself from everything, detach yourself from the need to compare yourself to others, detach yourself from the need to be better than other people, detach yourself from your need to be loved by others, detach yourself from your need to have money, to be respected, all that stuff. You can get rid of all that. You won't suffer in this world. Detach yourself from this expectation that you're going to be healthy. And then all makes perfect sense. And there are a lot of great aspects of Buddhism that I respect, but at the same time, doesn't that make life a little bit dull? The fact that you're expecting nothing? I mean, why am I doing these YouTube lives constantly? I do enjoy it, but I have this expectation and hope that a year from now I'll be back up to 75, 100 people watching me at a time. I have expectation and hope that in a year I'm at 10,000 subscribers. Will I get there? I don't know. But that kind of gives you motivation to have these expectations and hopes. It's why anyone invests. If you don't have some expectation, if you're always expecting nothing, you will never invest your money. Why would you invest in real estate? Why would you invest in the stock market or crypto or anything unless you have an expectation that you're going to get a return on that investment? Because again, you put all that money into a real estate investment, you're tying that money up. And that money is now tied up. And I love how I'm matching right here. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Maroon Day camp. I'm going to take 2 Motrones over here for some minor aches and pains is what they call it. Minor aches and pains. We've been at 21 likes for about 21 minutes. I think we should be at 22 now. Come on, somebody pull through. Nope. Okay. So, thank you, Adam. Adam says liked and subscribed. Let me check channel activity. Let me see. So, Adam, you've been here many, many, many times. You've been on these live streams on my channel about 10 times. This is the first time you subscribed? Or were you subscribed already? Plate says, as an only child, I had to learn how to interact with people, but watching how other people treated others made me realize you have to take friendships day by day and be observant. That is true. Friendships day by day and be observant. You're right, because I think a lot of friends, you can just take them for granted, and then they start taking advantage of you. You're going to be observant and go, what? And you know what? Something fishy's going on over here. Adam says, who took care of your Airbnb if you're not living nearby? I had a massive number of people helping. I had cleaning crews. I had friends up there who were going over there. I had a real estate agent who was fixing things. I was just paying money constantly to everybody to fix this thing. I'm like, how the heck are you going to make money from this thing? It was really annoying. And if you do decide to do an Airbnb, do it close to home. Do it close to where you are, because if your first Airbnb is far from home, it wasn't even my first Airbnb. And it was still extremely difficult managing it from a distance. And I just recommend that if you do it close to home so you can go over there and welcome guests. And good night, Violetta. Good to see you. Jamie says, someone from rural Ohio, that rent blows my mind. Yeah, that was the other thing too. The rent here, like the condos here in Miami Beach, one of them is for $2,200. The other pays $1,975. And I think that's the problem why I couldn't find a renter up there. I think that they can't support that. I think maybe I could get $2,000 at $1,900, but it was a house, not a small condo. But anyway, no, I only see 21 likes. I'm still waiting for the 22nd one. You're right, Adam. 100% better off taking less money from a great tenant than more money from a bad tenant. Yep. Adam says, a lawyer representing himself as a fool for a client. That's true as well. Anchor, where do you live? In which country? We do, Burger Sleuth. We all have our flaws, indeed. And I practice law in New York, but I live in Florida. And investing in waterfront properties, that's a good investment, Miss T. Good long-term tenant is Autopilot V, 100% agree. Thanks, Love and Light. Yeah, my mom's doing okay. Appreciate that. And Anchor says, I'm friends with the tenants at this point, and they've been there for 3 years. Yeah, I've become friends with the tenants too. And we've had lunch together and things like that. And that's a good thing. When you get a good tenant, they become your friend, and they respect you, and they take care of the property. And let's see. Monroe, you have a bent debit card. What does that mean? Does that mean it's physically bent, or is that some parlance that the new kids like to say? Bitcoin is high risk. You're right, V. Bitcoin is high risk. As I talk to a lot of people about this, I consider it a subpar version of gold. But gold, I have much more money in gold than I do in Bitcoin. But I do own some Bitcoin because I do like the fact that the government cannot inflate gold. It cannot inflate Bitcoin. And those are two amazing things when we've got massive inflation in the world. Love and Light, signed up to receive emails from you. Thank you so much. I can't even send out emails because MailChimp wants me to spend $75 a month to have a MailChimp account. I'm thinking $75 a month. I remember years ago it was like $7 a month to have an email account. I think very few people are sending out emails these days, so people are canceling their MailChimp accounts. So in order for MailChimp to stay in business, they had to inflate their price to $75. But one of these days, I'll send off an email. Justin says, I found you before you were monetized. You were being... Justin, it's were. I found you before you were monetized. You were a surfer character. Yeah, the surfer character wears the blue visor. Love is like an investment too, 100% Anchor. I agree. But eventually be a success. I don't know. I don't know if love will be a success for me. We'll see. Jamie makes bad choices. Yeah, I hear you. Anchor says, as long as you learn from the consequences of the bad choices, hopefully you'll make good choices in the future. And Free Alien says, what's Piedmont in Albemarle? Free Alien, you're coming on here, no idea what the heck you're talking about. We're talking about investments, mainly real estate investments of the short-term and long-term variety. And I've just been thinking about it all today. That's been the main thing I've been focused on, because we just signed a contract to sell the house in Maine. And so thought I'd share what's been on my mind today. Maybe it'll inspire you guys to consider real estate investment, or at least get involved in investment somewhere. Start saving up for a down payment. Again, even if it's just $1 a week, get into the mindset of starting to save up for the down payment. Before you know it, oh my gosh, I've got enough money for a down payment. It's good stuff. Something else for you guys to know: if you don't own a home, at least I'm talking about the United States, and you get it, if you invest money into your IRA, individual retirement account, if you use that money to make a first-time home purchase, you don't have any penalties. So maybe what you should do is start saving money into your IRA. And then, if you find a home, you can take that money and just invest it into the home, and the government's not going to penalize you for taking it out of the IRA. Piedmont and Albemarle are lithium mining companies. Yeah, lithium is an important ingredient in semiconductors and in batteries and all sorts of stuff and it's hard to find that. So lithium mining is a good investment in general. And Taiwan makes like 70% of the world's semiconductors. And there's a company, TSLM, Taiwanese semi. Forget check. You can check online. I think it's TSLM or TSM. But that's a potential interesting Taiwanese company that you may want to investigate as a potential investment. Do I think 401ks are good or bad? They're good in the sense that if it's, first of all, if it doesn't have match. Some companies offer a 401k match. Let's assume that your company doesn't have a 401k match. It's still good if it encourages you to invest. And if it forces you to take out 5% of your paycheck every month or every 2 weeks and put it into the stock market, I think that's wonderful. Because if you wouldn't do it otherwise, then it's basically forced investments, which I think is good. If there's a company match, so let's say you take out 5% of your salary and the company puts a matching 5%, or even a matching 2%, whatever. Now that's better because you're getting free money from your company. If you don't have a company that you work for that has a 401k, Robinhood has a very interesting, basically self-employed IRA where they have a 1% match. So, a silly example, if you put $1 in, they'll put in a penny. If you put in $100, they'll put in $1. If you put in $10,000, they'll put in $100. But again, that adds up too, and that's free money that Robinhood is giving you just by investing your own money. So Jamie, your company has a 50% match up to 10%? Jamie, if your company is doing 50% up to 10%, 100%. If you're not involved with that, I think you're an idiot. I think it's I think it's important to do that because you're getting free money from your company. Free Alien does cost averages and buy every 2 weeks. So to just educate you guys on what dollar cost averaging is, if you don't know. So the idea is, now dollar cost averaging is basically part of this efficient market hypothesis. which is that you're not gonna be able to outsmart the market. And the better idea is to just buy the same amount of the stock every single month, whether it's up or down. Stop trying to time the market. So, and a lot of these companies do this, like Robinhood and Stash and even Coinbase. You can do this dollar cost averaging where every week you just invest the same amount of money into the same stocks. So $5 every week into Apple, $5 every week into Google, $5 every week into Ford, $5 every week into whatever. And the idea is that in the long run, this makes perfect sense especially if you're buying SPY, the S&P 500, because if you look at that over the last 20 years, rocket ship, right? So if it's been going up, all right, you need to be removed. That's just terrible person. Unbelievable why somebody would come in here and do that. Why would they? Anyway, let's moving on. The idea is if you just buy $10 of the S&P 500 every single week. I've been doing that for years. It just grows and grows and grows and grows. And it doesn't matter. Sometimes the S&P 500 has been higher. Sometimes it's been lower. But it just keeps growing. So it doesn't matter at what point you're buying it. Just keep buying it. So Free Alien has a good strategy there of doing the dollar cost averaging. Jamie said I was reading they weren't a great idea. Here's the thing, Jamie. You could say that any investment is not a good idea if you have a better investment that gives you a better return for less risk. So 100%, if you're not investing money at all, then a 401k is brilliant. You do a 401k, and even if you just put the money into the S&P 500, beautiful, set autopilot. And you're getting money from your company as a match. But if there's another investment that comes along, 100% that's better and less risky with a higher return, and it's still steady, of course you should probably put your money into that instead. My whole thing, and I talk about that on my website, investlikeaninvestor.com. It's also Monroe Mann financialplan.com, where the letter investor stands for all these different things. I is intellectual property and insurance. The N is your never touch fund. V is venture capital. E is education. S is the stock market. T is treasuries. O is your own business. And R is real estate. You don't want to put all your money in any of those things. So yeah, a 401k is a bad investment if you put all of your investable money into a 401k. Disaster. This next election is coming up in less than 30 days. And my gut feeling, I'm starting to feel more and more that I think Donald Trump is going to win. Fingers crossed. If he wins, stock market's going to go up. If Kamala Harris wins, my gut feeling is maybe that the stock market's going to go down. If all of your money is in one investment that is it could be so easily impacted by the presidential election, that's a problem. You don't want to have all your investable cash all to be at the whim of who wins the presidential election. That's why it's important to have gold too. Gold is fantastic. And if as money gets inflated and the price of money goes down, value of gold goes up. Same thing with Bitcoin. If the dollar starts inflating out of control, Bitcoin's going up. Almost by necessity. Because if Bitcoin cannot be inflated, I don't know if you know that, but there's a limited amount of Bitcoin that can be mined. There's also a limited amount of gold that can be mined. But Bitcoin, in essence, is even more limited than gold because we could keep finding more and more gold. You can't keep finding more and more Bitcoin once you get closer and closer to the absolute limit, which we're getting close to. I think 2034 is when the last of the Bitcoin will be mined. And at that point, I think the price of Bitcoin is going to go up even higher. I could be wrong. Maybe Bitcoin fails in the next 3 years. You know, no one's a Svengali and can can predict the future. But with gold, you've got that. I mean, Jamie, you've got to make sure you got some gold as well. Put some of your money into your 401k, but definitely real estate as well. Buy some treasuries, not only from the United States, but from other governments as well. And I'll talk about all that maybe in a different live stream. Do I know much about Swiss law? Vaguely. I used to live in Switzerland. I used to study there. I used to have a Swiss bank account. And I know they have a wealth tax, which is not so fun. But beyond that, not so much, Anchor. And you've had it since you were 21. So, Jamie, that's fantastic. Then I would say if you have a massive amount of money in that 401k, Jamie, and you don't own real estate, I would take some of it out and buy some real estate. Definitely diversify. If you've got more than a few $100,000 in that 401k, I think some of it needs to get out of there. There is no way I will keep all of my money in the stock market. That is just danger zone. I don't keep all my money in cash. I wouldn't keep it all in gold. I wouldn't keep it all in crypto. Wouldn't keep it all in real estate. Wouldn't keep it all in the stock market. Wouldn't keep all my money in my own stock in a business that I own. Try to diversify as best as you can. Du kommst aus der Schweiz. Das ist sehr gut, Anke. Ja, willkommen. Ich bin sehr glücklich, dass du bist hier mit mir. Ja, ich bin Amerikaner. Super YouTuber. Jai, I agree. Love and Light says, I was told that tenants who receive Section 8 housing are good because the money's guaranteed monthly. I don't know enough about Section 8, Love and Light. That may or may be accurate. And not sure. That's all I have to say about that. And Anchor has 9,500 euros saved in a low-risk index fund. I think that's fine. That's good. And I think that's a great investment to have there. Would you say that depends on the index fund, though? It depends what you consider low risk, because some index funds are safer than others. S&P 500 is probably the safest index fund in the world, but it's dependent on the solvency of the United States economy and the solvency of the 500 companies that make up the fund. So Anchor, I know you say it's a low-risk index fund. Just make sure that your fund is actually low risk and that it's not going to dramatically be impacted by, again, the presidential election or the war in Ukraine or issues with China's economy, American economy. V's making a 5% spread on investments. V, you're making a 5,000% spread on this investment right here. You're getting such a huge return on investment here. And I will tell you that all of you who are spending time, energy, and money, or any combination of that, helping to support my YouTube channel, I tell you this, you will get a 1,000% return on investment. Thank you for clicking like. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. My name is Monroe Mann. I've got a PhD in psychology. I'm an attorney. I'm an investor. I'm a comedian. I'm a musician, an Iraq war veteran, and I combine all that stuff to my YouTube lives and my YouTube videos. And thank you for being a part of my channel. Yeah, Jai, forget about Helen. Helen's gone. And du denkst, dass meine Deutsch ist überraschend gut, Bro. Danke. Du bist sehr nett. Du bist sehr nett, mein Freund. Anchor, wo bist du in Schweiz? If you guys want to know, that means where are you in Switzerland? Where are you? Schweiz is how you say Switzerland in German. Say it with me. Schweiz. Now you know. That's how you say Switzerland. Love and Light. Yeah, I don't know.
Our federal government is so big and so corrupt and so terrible. They need to just disband and start all over again with just the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And let's do it again. Let's get rid of that. I think it's the 21st Amendment that had the income tax. Let's get rid of that too. And let's see. Justin Hood says, what's some good financial advice for the low class like myself? My advice for anybody who's not really investing, Justin, is again, just start. Download Robinhood or download Stash, set up an account, and start investing $1 a week in the S&P 500. It's an index fund of the top 500 companies in America. It gets re-indexed every week by computer. You don't have to really worry about it too much. All you got to think about is the U.S. economy on the risk of collapse. If it's not, then everything's good. And get started and get psychologically invested. Let me change the word invested. Get psychologically acclimated to investment. And get psychologically acclimated to believing that, you know what? Investing is not that big of a deal. And I have no idea how much money you have, whether it's $1 or $10,000 that you invest per week. Get into the habit of realizing, you know what? I don't need this money every day. I don't need this money every day. And then you start to feel awesome because you look, I can all but guarantee you, 99.9%. And this is regardless of who wins the election. If you invest in the S&P 500 today, let's just say $100, I guarantee you in like 6 years, it's worth considerably more than $100. Even if you just did nothing else with it, you just put it there. And I as much as I believe that Harris will be bad for the economy and bad for the country, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the checks and balances of the judicial branch, executive, and legislative branches will be strong enough to keep a Harris administration from destroying what the founding fathers built. I'm not 100% confident, but I'm confident enough that if Harris wins, I'm not taking my money out of the stock market. Just so if that helps you. I will reevaluate, and I'll have to see where the country's going in the next couple of years. But immediately I would not. Yeah, that's right, V. 5,000% from Monroe. I am, and on that note, let me go back, Justin. You said you want some good financial advice for the low class like yourself. I would recommend you super chat some money to Monroe every week. I would go watch some of his videos and do a super thanks here and there. I'd watch all of the ads, never skip them. I would become a paid member of the channel because why is that the best investment you can make? If you guys can help me become successful here on YouTube, I can focus far less on all the other things that I do in order to make money, because I could be making my money from coming here on YouTube, and I could give you additional advice, Justin, as we keep going more and more. And as I grow as a real estate investor, as I grow as a stock market investor, as I grow as an entrepreneur, all of that knowledge gets shared with you. But as I said, you never want to invest all your money into one investment. So even though it's a 5,000% return on investment when you invest in Monroe Mann's YouTube channel, you do not want to put all your money there. So I would say put some of your money into this S&P 500. And then, every once in a while, put a little bit of invested money into the Monroe Mann Running for Famous Fund. And together, we will become investing juggernauts. Abel, Marl, and Piedmont. Hey, free alien, can you leave a comment on one of my videos reminding me to check out Albemarle and Piedmont? Because I'd love to check it out, and then maybe I could share my analysis of these companies with you guys on a future live stream. Justin says, I work all the time, just not rich. So you're rich in time because you've got time here that you can spend here on this live stream, and you're getting a 5,000% return on your invested time right now, Justin. So, I would just, Justin, have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? I mean, there are so many books. I mean, let me just show you some of these books that these are books that I hear. You should read Rich Dad Poor Dad, 100%. Read this book by Dalio. He's one of the most successful fund managers ever. Let me see if there are any other books that are around here. Susie Orman's book is pretty good. It's pretty basic, but that's helpful. 9 Steps to Financial Freedom. Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature. Beginner's Guide to Day Trading may help you if you want to get involved with that. But this one here, number 1. If any of you have not read that book, I think you guys are big fools. You can buy that book at stores for let me just see how much this costs in paperback. This is $9.99, which means if you get it on Amazon, you can probably get it for like $7. And if you're a Prime member, free shipping. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Read the second book, Cash Flow Quadrant. They help you get involved with the psychological mindset that you need to invest well. And that's what so many people, I talk to them and I go, I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it was just a bunch of psychology. I'm thinking, hello, how do you think you make money? It's 100% psychology. There's another book, let me see if I could find it. There's another book that I want you to look at. Actually, it's really, really good. Where is it? Let me see if I have it here. Maybe it's in my closet. I'm not sure which one it is. It's a psychology book about money, it's really fantastic. And here, this one. This is very good. Your Money and Your Brain. Oh my gosh, I just realized why sometimes I think I look funny here on these YouTube live streams. It's because I'm seeing myself here, not in a mirror reflection, in an inverted reflection. Because look, I can't read Cayman Islands. This is super, super weird. And that's why I think I keep playing with my hair, because I don't recognize it. Because my hair doesn't go this way in the mirror. It goes this way. By the way, this is all messed up because I was out in the rain. This is really rain hair, which is why I'm wearing my cap. Make America a Republic again. That's true, V. Right now it's on the verge of. It was great to see Elon Musk speaking at Trump's rally yesterday. Let's see. Why does Jai keep talking about Helen after I already banned Helen? Yeah, I think Jai has a crush on Helen, or maybe Jai is Helen. Some of these spammers have multiple accounts. No, I'm not trolling you, Justin. I'm telling you, investing in Monroe Mann's channel is a 5,000% return on investment. V already understands this. That's why she keeps gifting memberships. Oh, Jamie said she'll do all that except watch the ads. Well, just for that, we're going to do an ad. Let's see. I'm going to do an ad for this. Hey, guys. Do you have problems with your lower back? Maybe a stiff shoulder? Or maybe a quad muscle that's just not feeling up to par? Well, then I recommend this myofascial release ball. Hi, I'm Monroe Mann, and I'm not only a spokesman for this 4V myofascial release ball, but I'm also an avid user. And I tell you this, when I get up in the morning and I'm just not feeling at 100%, This ball gets me there. I can roll this on my back, roll it on my neck. I could be on my back on the floor rolling. It makes you just feel alive. I mean, I'm 46 years old. After I use this, I feel like I am 25 at most. So check it out. 4V, myofascial release ball, a commercial just for Jamie. V says you are successful. You want more success. Yeah, I have a problem. V, I know we talked about this. I still don't feel like I'm successful. I don't know I'll tell you this. I will think of myself as successful when I'm paying when I make $4,000 a month from YouTube, I will tell you that I'm successful. But until that time, I'm not successful. I'm becoming slowly successful. I'm partially successful. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate your kudos. Jamie says, I feel I don't mind watching the ads when they're placed at the end of a video. Does that mean you can just leave them and you don't have to watch them? Even allowing the ad to play for about 5 seconds. That's right, Jamie. Well, Jamie has YouTube Premium. So I'm getting paid from Jamie for ads that she would have watched, but she doesn't watch because she has... maybe I'll post something soon. It's a little screenshot that shows the breakdown of the money, but it shows that I make more money from the people who are watching the ads, but I do make some money from people who are YouTube Premium members. Oh, thanks, Love and Light. You think I look very healthy lately? My skin looks good. Very nice. Thank you for the lovely compliment. To bypass the ad blockers. Yeah, Jamie. I really do. I want to get a hair transplant. I want my hair back. My hairline used to be here. Right there. So I can bring it forward. See? My hair used to be down there. Oh, boy. What happened? All right, Jay, I'm putting Jay on a timeout now because I think Jay is Helen Keller. Anyway, guys, this has been fun. Good to talk about some investments with you guys. And I learned something from you guys, inspiring, talking about the investments and friendship and where to put your time, energy, and money. I hope you guys learned something as well. Thank you for the likes. We got to gold medal, 20 likes. So Anchor says, is this the end of the stream? Why? You want me to go for more, Anchor? What's up, Jaya? Is that Jaya in Cyrillic? Anchor wants to know if this is the end of the stream. What more can I give? I've been talking now for 113 minutes. It's a long time. Because you haven't been here for long. How do you say your name? Is it Zoya? Or, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I said. So it's Zoya. Oh my gosh, that's what I said. Zoya. I said that 12 times. Zoya. Good to have you here, Zoya. Zoya. Maya Zoya. Yeah, Anchor, I'm heading out. It's been a long time chatting. I've learned my lessons that I can't keep going just because people want me to, because my voice goes bad. And then the next day I can't talk and I can't live my normal life because I can't talk to people. So I do have to be careful. Thank you for those lovely flowers. I think those are flowers. Are those flowers, Love and Light? Oh, Jaya. Okay, yeah, Zoya. Well, Zoya, good to have you here. Thank you guys for the likes. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much. And have a great one. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you for subscribing and supporting the Monroe Mann channel. Bouquets of flowers from Love and Light. So I get love, light, and bouquets. Love, light, and lilacs. Thank you, love and light. Bye, guys.